Hello and welcome back to the Back of the Van podcast. I'm your host, Charlie Bolden, of course, co-host Joe McGlade, and I'm honoured and pleasure to say we have a very, very special guest here today. American college basketball veteran, United States Air Force veteran, David Grace. David, how are you doing today?
Doing great, and thank you all for having me, man. I'm really excited, and it's bringing back my memories when I used to go over to the UK. So I'm having fond memories.
Let's just jump. We were talking about a little bit before that. We started recording about you jumping in the UK. Let's just dive straight into it then. Talk to me about some of your experiences with the UK and the UK military in the US Air Force.
Yeah, I did a TDY there, which is a temporary duty assignment in Upper Hayford and at the Air Force Base there. And so I had a really great time. We were there for 30 days. I got to go down to London and enjoy my time there. Got to spend some time in the pubs and always enjoyed my time there. I learned what mate meant. It's a friend more than mates here in the United States. It's a little different meaning. I remember that. So I'm going to tell you a story. Y'all might laugh. I was single at the time I went over. I was stationed at Barksdale Air Force Base, and I go over there and we go to a pub and they have music. And in America, girls dance with boys and boys dance with girls. But in the UK, it seems like where I was at that time, the girls were dancing with the girls. So I asked the young lady if I could dance with her, and she said, "No, I'm waiting for my mate." So I'm saying, "Oh, okay, she has a boyfriend." Now I didn't know it was her girlfriend, so I got outdid by another girl, and my coworkers, they laughed at me all the way home. So, but that was my introduction to mate, and then I spent time in Australia too, so I learned the word real early. I think God was doing me a favor, and when I went down there, and I recruited and coached some Australian kids. Jonah Bolden played in the NBA, and Angus Brandt played professionally, still playing professionally. Reese Murphy, and so they educated me as well. So, but I love my time in the UK. And when I was in Turkey, I worked for NATO, and we had some people from the UK military on board with us, and we were going around in different areas and doing different stuff I probably shouldn't talk about. So that was during my military days.
You can't beat the English, as they say.
Yes.
Just on the US Air Force and stuff, I want to know where this dream came from to go in there, and when you first realized you was going to go in there, and just talk about the
In
journey.
the Air Force.
Yeah. Talk about the journey
I
going to
was
the Air
18
Force.
years old, and I went to 3 different high schools in the States because my stepfather was in the Army. And so I really wanted to play college basketball. That was my dream. I always wanted to play at University of Maryland. I grew up there, and it just didn't work out. So, but I had an offer to walk on at Northwestern State in Natchitoches, Louisiana, which is a Division I school. And we're at the dinner table. That's back when everybody ate at the dinner table. My mom and my stepfather and myself were eating dinner, and they asked me what I was going to do because school was about to be over with. And I told them I was going to walk on at Northwestern State, and they said, who's going to pay for that? So I said, you pay for everything else. I didn't know about grant and aids and grants and stuff like that. I didn't know about that. So they said, we're not going to pay for that, but we'll pay for you to join the Army. And I said, I'm not joining the Army because I saw what my stepfather did. I didn't want to play G.I. Joe out in the field and play war games like that. That wasn't my cup of tea. So my friend and I later the next day, he said he was going to join the Air Force. So I thought it over. I saw the hurt on my mom's face a little bit as far as her wanting me to join the military instead of going to college and play basketball. And this was before the internet and all that stuff. And so I said, you know what, I'll join the Air Force. And so I went back, told my mom, my stepfather was joining the Air Force, and my mom used psychology on me. She said, "Oh, you're not smart enough to join the Air Force." And I said, "Oh, okay." Because she
You
knew
were wrong.
if you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to prove to her that I'm going to do it. So I took the test. Obviously, I passed, and I got the results back in the mail. Again, no internet back then, and so I get the news. It was a letter. I get the letter, and we're having dinner again, and I throw the letter on the table, and I just said, "See, I'm smart enough to join the Air Force." So they were excited, they were jumping up and down. They said, "Well, when are you going to join?" I said, "No, I just wanted to show you I was smart enough. I wasn't going to join." So that was my little joke for a couple hours anyway. So then the next day I told them I was going to join. And I did, obviously. It's the greatest thing ever happened to me. Got to spend 20 years in the United States Air Force, which I think is the best in the world. And we always are perfecting our processes. And, it's helping me through all my journey, as far as being a college basketball coach, a high school basketball coach, an AAU basketball coach. It's helped me throughout my path.
You served for 16 years as a fuel specialist and accountant, if I'm
Yeah.
correct. Just talk about some
Yes.
of the stuff you would do there
Yeah,
for
I
the Air
put
Force.
fuel on airplanes. I fought in Desert Storm in Saudi Arabia. I was on the flight line. I was responsible for making sure the planes got fuel on them. Also worked in the accounting section. After the war, I worked at the accounting section at Moody Air Force Base, where I did all the paperwork and make sure all the fuel was accounted for. And we ordered it, we processed it, and we did a whole lot of things. So I did that, and we won Best in the Air Force during that time, and that was quite an honor for not only me, but for our whole organization. We had a great leader in Walter McCauley. Chief McCauley's one of the greatest mentors and supervisors I've ever had, and we're still very close. And he's the one that helped me get into other avenues as far as coaching, and that goes as well through his leadership. So but yeah, I did that. And then my last 4 years I cross-trained. I got promoted when I was at Langley Air Force Base, and we were downsizing the military then. And then I had to cross-train. So I cross-trained in human relations, and it's helped me greatly. It helped me with my degree. I got my degree. I went to a 15-week in residence school, got 23 college credits out of it. So that's how intense it was. And it was just it's called Defense Equal Opportunity Management Institute. Learn everything about human beings and how they interact and how they go about it. And it's helped me greatly, again, in coaching and doing other things in my life. So those are the things I did in the military. And then, when I was stationed in Turkey, I worked for NATO, and we did some things that were classified and all that as well. So, but all those times, I would never change it for the world. The Air Force way of life is the best. I just moved back to Phoenix, Arizona, and went back, lived very closely to Luke Air Force Base, and go in there and get my hair cut and everything. So I'm still close to the military.
I love that. That is brilliant. What would you say is some of the most memorable moments from your time in the Air Force?
Oh, wow. So many. Winning Best in Air Force at Moody Air Force Base and going to the Pentagon and getting presented with the award. All the friends and coworkers that I met during those times, playing basketball in the Air Force. There's a young man that's being heavily recruited here in Phoenix, and his father and I played on the base team at Moody Air Force Base in Georgia back in 1991. Isn't that something? But my growth as a man, I went in as a young, fresh out of high school, and I developed into a man and to learn how to become a leader and learn how to become a great follower as well. So, I mean, we can go on and on about, I played on the base softball team. The sports was great through my career. Was able to attain a degree. You know, and I was able to see a lot of things. I was travel all over the world. I lived in Sicily, you know, did some things in Spain and Germany, and, you know, it's just, it was highlights after highlights after highlights, you know. The one thing that I wasn't really too fond of was being in the war. You know, there's nothing fun about the war, but we got through that, but, you know, there was so many highlights. I just can't say one.
That's
What
amazing.
was your favorite country? You've traveled to so many. So which would you say was your favorite country you've been to?
Oh, you know, I like the UK. I think UK is right up there. Obviously, when you go over to the UK, you don't have to learn the language, you know, just a little bit here and there. You have to learn what mate means.
Yeah.
And you have to learn how to drive on the other side of the road.
Oh,
So
yeah.
but other than that, you know, I loved England. I loved the UK. I love Spain. I really love Spain. Barcelona is one of my favorite
Yeah.
cities. Um,
great.
Germany was great too. I went to Frankfurt Middle School when I was in the 8th grade for a year.
Wow.
You know, so
what was that like?
so I've been everywhere. A lot of people probably don't know that I did that. But you know, where are other places? When I was in when I was in UCLA, we got to go to Australia. That was a great. France was awesome. Paris, France. I love that. We got to go on the bullet train down from Paris to Barcelona, which was incredible. You know, Australia, Sydney's great. I really love Brisbane, the Gold Coast. Melbourne was good as well. So I've been blessed to be able to travel the world.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
I was in China. The first time we went to China wasn't very good because that was the China incident with our 3 guys from UCLA stealing. You know, that was a international incident. So, and then the following year, I went with Cal Berkeley with the Bears, and we went over. So that was much more fun. I got to enjoy the Disneyland in China. That was very unique.
What was that like?
I had a great time there. It's probably one of the funnest things I've done. So there for a while, you're in the Disneyland, and some things you think, well, wow, man, I think I'm in America. And then there's other things you say, oh no, I'm still back here in China.
That's brilliant. With the US Air Force, obviously coaching basketball and loving basketball as a sport and stuff, would you say, because they're both sort of team orientated, aren't they, being in the Air Force, you're around a team, they're your brothers, aren't they? And I guess imagine it's the same on the basketball court as well. You're around these players 24/7, they become family. Is that why you think you're really stuck to the army or the military? Sorry, you stuck to the military.
I think it has a lot of correlation. I think a lot of similarities. You're right. You're always with a team. You know, you're always fighting for a goal. And you're there to achieve as a team. And you learn how to be a follower. And the Air Force is great at teaching that. So when I became assistant coach and a head coach in high school, as a high school coach and head AAU coach, and then I went on to college, I became a follower again, you know, and I led as well. But, you know, you got to go back to being able to do both and swing, you know, from both sides. You know, sometimes you're leading the players, and sometimes you're following your head coach, you know. So, but it helped me. It helped me greatly. And I taught our student athletes how to be followers, because once you learn how to be a great follower, that gives you so many tools to be a great leader. And then once, you know, you teach them how to be great followers, you teach them how to be great leaders. You know, every successful team, I think, is led by the team.
Very true. There should always be 11 captains on the pitch, or how many there is in basketball. It should always be the full team of captains, really.
Very true.
Roy Keane once said. I'm interested to know how you transition from the US Air Force then onto college basketball coaching.
Well, when I was still in the Air Force in 1997, I got stationed at Langley Air Force Base after doing an assignment in Turkey. I also spent time in Turkey as well. my supervisor told me my responsibility, and he had a coaching plaque on the wall, similar to one of these plaques right here.
Love that, by the way. Love the background.
Yeah, thank you. And I was just making small talk and say, "Oh, you coach basketball?" Because I had one of those same plaques coaching my 5-year-old in a YMCA league, and he said, "Oh yeah, I coach for Boo Williams AAU program, one of the best AAU programs in the world, and I'm needing an assistant coach." And I'm like, wow. First of all, I don't know what AAU means at that time. I don't know who Boo Williams is at that time. And I go, and he wants me to come down to a practice. So at first I said no. And then second, I said, I'll go down. So I went down because that's my supervisor, obviously. So I go down, and he has 12-year-olds in practice jerseys, and he has them in same socks, same sneakers. He has a practice plan. He's running it like a college program. And I'm like, whoa, this is a little bit more than park and rec and how the normal things happen here in America. And he said, oh yeah, this is big time stuff, and he was telling me about Boo Williams being, who actually is in the Hall of Fame now, who coached Allen Iverson, Alonzo Mourning, Joe Smith, J.R. Reed. We can keep going down the list. And so I said, yeah, I'll become assistant coach. And that's when I was still in the Air Force. That's before I got stationed in Phoenix. But that's where it all started. And then I went to Boo Williams tournament for his 17-year-olds, and Dean Smith comes walking in the door, John Thompson, Mike Krzyzewski, all the top coaches come in, and I'm sitting there watching, and I just had like a daydream, like, why don't you can become assistant coach one day, Division I assistant coach one day. And 5 minutes later, he said, yeah, why don't, I said to myself, I said, yeah, well, if I'm going to be assistant coach, I might as well try to be a head Division I coach. And that's where the dream started. I went back and started telling everybody. I told my coworkers at work, and they all laughed at me because they said, man, you didn't play no daggone basketball at college, and you're in the Air Force. How are you going to get to that point? So that was motivation for me, because I like when, again, like my mom, I like when people tell me I can't.
I love that. So how did you, so obviously you get the gig with the AU. Yes. Where do you go from there after that then?
Well, the following year, my supervisor got assignment to Korea, so I take over. And my team mom was very close with Boo Williams, so he would tell, Boo to come on over and watch me coach. And she said, because she's never seen anybody coach like me before and care about the kids and help motivate the kids. So Boo would come watch. He wouldn't say nothing though. So we go through that year. And then the second year, I get promoted and I get assignment. So I was only there 3 short years. And so I go into Boo's office, who Boo is a insurance guy. He runs an insurance agency in Hampton, Virginia. So I go in his office and I said, Boo, I got to go to, Arizona. I got stationed there. And I wanted to know if you think I can be a Division I college coach. And he said, you know how many people come in my office and ask that question? I usually tell them no. He said, but I think the world of you, and I've watched you coach many times, and I think you have it in you. He says, if you get your degree, I'll help you in any way I can. And once he said that, no one could tell me different, and all my coworkers told me didn't have it, I wasn't going to happen, but. And then I get assignment out here to Phoenix. I start coaching 12-year-olds again and work my way up. Started coaching 17-year-olds. We took over a program, an AAU program, and then it became the Arizona Magic underneath the Compton Magic with Ato Punahema as one of the best AAU programs in the country. And we became really good. We had some NBA pros, Jared Bayless, who I'll have lunch with next week. Lewis Amundsen spent 10 years in the league. Jared Bayless spent 10 years in the league, and many other Division I players. And we became really, really good. Some say probably the best AAU program ever to come out of Arizona. So, and then, when I was coaching Jared, Lute Olson took a liking to me. Lute Olson, the Hall of Fame coach at Arizona, and he became my mentor as well. And and Lute helped me with my career as well. So I've had a lot of great people help me along the way. I retired from the Air Force in 2004. I became a head high school coach at South Mountain High School. We took over a program that was 4-17. Two short years later, we go 29-4. We win a state championship and had great kids. Great kids. We turned the program around. We turned the culture around. They were a 2.0 GPA as a the JV freshman and varsity team, and in that year we won the state title. They were over 3.0, so we were really excited about that as well. And then I get my break and I get to Sacramento State. Jerome Jenkins hires me. I take a $20,000 pay cut and sleep on the floor in the locker room. I remarry. I had full custody of my children, and then the journey of college basketball took over. I got to reach my dream as assistant, and then I went from there. I'm still on the path of wanting to be a head Division I coach one day.
Love that. Honestly, you've had
Yeah.
such a great career. Looking at your stats, what I want to know is that, for one, how the hell did you do it? And the second question is, what hurdles did you face early on with coaching and stuff? Because obviously it was new to you. So what hurdles did you face early on, and what lessons did you learn?
Well, it's a lot of no's. And I tell young coaches all the time, if you're not used to getting no all the time, you're not going to make it in this business. I'm still getting no's. I tried to get a couple jobs here recently, and some said my resume was too much, or too much on the resume or whatever. I don't understand that, but anyway, they're telling me no still. So, but it is not, all the way back with my mom, you tell me no, I'm going to find a way to have somebody say yes. And so there's a lot of ups and downs. I took the $20,000 pay cut. I slept on the floor in the locker room. I ate when the guys ate, but I think that was great during that time because I got to learn the ins and outs of college. I got to see what the student athlete goes through, and it's just another way to be able to relate to them and help them with their journey as well, while I'm struggling a little bit to help me with my journey, and then the following year I go to University of San Francisco. It's always difficulties. I get there, and then a couple months later, they make a coaching change and they bring in Eddie Sutton. So I get part of that. So much stuff has went on through my life. People see, well, oh man, he made it to UCLA, but they don't see all the setbacks along the way. The only thing that I can tell young people and people in general and tell them about my story, I just didn't quit, through all the setbacks. Like I have a setback now, like I'm trying to become a head coach now, and there's a little setback. Oh, well, that's part of life. We overcome that. We all have our own paths. We do our own things and it's a part of life. And as long as you keep pushing forward every day and you do more with your 24, you're going to be all right. God wants me right here, right now. My mother-in-law just passed away. So, it was God wanted us here to be with her during her last days on earth and with my wife and stuff. And that's why we're here in Phoenix right now.
Sending condolences once again. And honestly, I love the resilience and the perseverance, and it generally is inspiring to hear. And one thing I do want to ask as well is, obviously, your lessons you learned from the US Air Force. How many of them did you take into the coaching and your philosophy of coaching and stuff?
Oh, wow. I took them all. I took all my lessons. When I was 18 years old, they introduced me to core values, and I didn't know what core values were. In the Air Force core values, there's only 3 of them, and I still use them today. It's still my makeup today, and they are integrity, service before self, and excellence in all we do. I've taken those 3 core values with me every day of my life. And I think they're the 3 greatest core values there are. And I tell kids today, I talk to them today, I'm getting ready to have a camp. I was supposed to be this weekend, but due to those circumstances, we'll have it the following weekend. And then another one during Halloween. I'll relay that same message, and those things that I learned right when I was 18 years old. And then I saw how they made other people successful. And how they make the Air Force successful. So those are the 3 things that are intangibles that I talk about the most in the Air Force. But learning how to work with other people, learning other people from all the walks of life, you know, and working in a hostile working environment. I mean, you can't work in more of a hostile working environment than being under a desk during a war, during a alarm during the war in Saudi Arabia, thinking that you're going to get blown up, you know, and then having to make sure those planes got fuel on them. You know, that's pretty hostile, and making sure everybody's still following the rules and stuff. So those are some things. We can go on for hours and hours of what I learned in the Air Force. I learned how to be a great follower. I learned how to be a great leader, and those things that I continue to perfect along the way. I learned how to be a father. I learned how to be a brother and a cousin and, you know, an uncle. I learned all those things because I went in at 18. You know, my mom and my dad, God rest their soul, they're still living, and they still teach me to this day. I just talked to my dad the night before last, and you know, I talk to my mom all the time as well. So they teach me every day. I learn from my wife. You know, she's the greatest lady on the earth in my mind, as far as what her and I have been through, and she's been great. She's a coach's wife, but all those things I've learned in the military, and we can keep going on and on about those things.
Amazing.
So I wanted to move on a bit, David, because you talked about you got to see life as a college player. So I wanted to know how hard it is for a Division I player. Like, what are their routines and everything? How hard is it for a Division I player to get there?
Oh, it's definitely hard. It's not easy to become a Division I player. There's only 350 teams now, and they get new ones every day. But so, you know, then you times that times really 13 scholarships. So it's very, very difficult. It's not easy. And then once you get there, it's not easy to, you know, to get in the starting lineup because there's so much competition and the days are long. You know, even when they're in high school, the days are long if you really want to be great. You know, like I mentioned, Jared Bayless, who spent 10 years in the NBA, and we had a lunch a while back, and Jared was saying, Coach Grace, you know, this is the first time in my life I just, you know, he just retired, and it's the first day of my life I don't wake up and think about basketball and doing basketball stuff every day, whether it's how he eats, how he sleeps, how he trains, and, you know, who he's with, you know, and his time, you know, his time management. Because if you want to be the best, it's going to be basketball, basketball, basketball. It's called sacrifice. I don't think you can be successful at anything without sacrifice.
Very true.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Very true. You mentioned with I remember you talking to a group of kids on a summer camp. It wasn't too long. It was about 4 months ago, maybe a bit long ago. I watched a video of it, you talking to kids, and you were talking about the elite level pros and what what separates them from the standard player with hard work. What other messages do you relay to these young kids? Obviously, because you can't overwhelm too much at a young age that there's gonna be this much work, because sometimes it can put them off, can't it? What messages do you relay to these younger kids to keep them motivated and make them want to put that work in as well? Because I'm obviously an old lad, so when I hear you talk about integrity and excellence and you're persevering through stuff, and it makes you want to run for a brick wall for you. Generally, it does. Like, I can see why you've got such a good coach. So, what other messages do you relate to the younger kids, not to overwhelm them and make sure that they don't get flustered in the head with it?
Well, you know, they usually come with a desire to play in the NBA. I think all the kids think, you know, when they come, especially to my camps or whatever, they have a desire to play in the NBA. So I'm very fortunate enough to been able to coach over 20 kids that's played in the NBA or playing there. And, you know, when I mention Lonzo Ball's name, everybody perks up, you know, because everybody in the whole planet knows Lonzo and his family. And I was very fortunate enough to recruit Lonzo and his family, and you know, been able to coach 2 of them, and but very close to all of them. I was with them. I had lunch with them at the summer league, and dinner with Lonzo a couple weeks before that. So, you know, they all have dreams of being in the NBA and being, you know, similar to him or Norman Powell or Kevon Looney or Zach LaVine or all that. But I share with them, hopefully in a positive way, of their work ethic. You know, we all knew where Lonzo Paul and TJ Leaf and Aaron Holiday were going to be on a Friday night while they were in school. They were going to be in the gym working. You know, they weren't going to be at the club or the party in the dorms or none of that. You know, do they have a good time? Yeah, but they perfected their craft, and that's why they all got drafted. You know, I remember on TJ Leaf's official visit to UCLA, I said, TJ, what do you want to major in? You know, he said, bucketology, coach. All I want to do is make buckets. And he says, I'm only going to be here for 7 months. You know, I'm going to work hard and show you that, and I'll get my degree later. And he was right. He was only there 7 months, and he got drafted by the Indiana Pacers, and now he's with the Portland Trailblazers with another one of my guys, Norman Powell, who I love dearly.
So do you know, for players, do you have like one player who you set as an example to who they want to be like mentality wise and playing wise? Do you have like one player like Cole, because obviously his mentality was like on a different level? Do you want players to have that type of mentality? Do you have like him as an example?
Well, most of the kids that I've worked with and recruit are incredible kids. You know, one kid that stands out is Thomas Welsh, the 7-footer who got to us. You know, he was a McDonald's All-American, but he was still, I thought it was probably a little bit under-recruited. And once he got to UCLA, and you probably say, well, he's McDonald's All-American, but there wasn't that many bigs on the West Coast at the time. And Thomas really worked hard. And after every practice, he would come up to every coach and say, thank you, coach. Wow. How many kids do that?
I love that. That.
Yeah. So that's where that stands out with Thomas. And Thomas, every time he came to the bench, coach, how many rebounds do I got? You know, how am I helping the team, coach? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that sticks out. Now, Lonzo was great. Norman Powell was great. They're Eric Moreland was great. And Roberto Nelson was, he's like a son to me. And they all are, but as well as with my children as well, who I love more than anything. But there's so many qualities about each and every one of them.
One of my questions is about obviously players getting drafted and stuff. What's been the most difficult moment for you as a coach? Maybe seeing a player who should have been drafted not get his chance, or a player that maybe was talented enough but didn't work hard enough, didn't put the work in. What's one of your most difficult memories as a coach?
Maybe seeing Tony Parker, who was a 4-time high school state champion and a McDonald's All-American. He goes 4 years at UCLA. He doesn't get drafted, and he's not playing in the NBA. I thought he had the talent to play in the league. He has a great personality, great person, but for whatever reason, God has a path for everybody. And that was one. Chris Smith getting hurt last year. I recruited Chris, and he's with the NBA team, so hopefully he can stick on and make it and be good. I always knew he should have got drafted. If he came out the year before, he'd have got drafted, but then he gets hurt, and then he wasn't even ready to work out for teams before the draft this time around. So those are heartbreaking things. Roberto Nelson, I thought, had a chance to play in the league. And he's played professionally overseas and done tremendous. I thought he had an opportunity as well. But again, everybody has a similar path. I mean, a different path, and some make it and some don't for whatever reason. Life's not fair.
That's very true.
How do you think that affects a player, when they've put all this effort and they've worked so hard and they've not been drafted? How do you think that affects a player mentally?
Well, I hope it puts fuel in the fire, just like with haters. Everybody has haters, especially if you're successful, you're going to have haters. David Grace has haters, and that's what fuels the fire. The haters fuel you. The haters fuel me. Not getting drafted, for me, not getting a job. There's schools that I try to get jobs with. I didn't get a job. So that fuels me to prove them wrong the next time I see them, when I get to a spot that just, so you got to turn a negative into a positive.
Definitely.
So David, I wanted to ask another question. What sets the difference between a player who's going into the NBA and the one who isn't? What's the difference, would you say, mainly?
Well, you know, we have a saying in our coaches circle. These NBA teams really do their homework. They ask a lot of questions about a lot of things. And, you know, like I tell young people all the time that are on the border, on the cusp of being NBA players, or even ones that are in D1 who think they're going to the NBA and they probably never have a chance. Some of it's physical, some of it's mental, some of it's work ethic. You know, we always say don't have a but. He can really jump, but he doesn't do this off the court. He can really shoot the basketball, but he's a bad teammate. You know, you know, how do you positively affect everybody each and every day? Because these NBA guys are spending a ton of money and they're not going to spend it on bad people.
That's true.
Sometimes they do, and sometimes they get burnt for it. But for the most part, if it's a borderline between a good kid and a bad kid, and they're have the same qualities, they're gonna take the good kid because it's just easier.
Very true.
Yeah.
We're gonna separate off now for some fun would you rathers. Then we're gonna get back into the questions. We do this with every guest to see what their answers will be. So we'll break off for some. The first one is, I'll come to you first, Dave, then I go to Joe. Would you rather always have a mullet haircut or a ponytail haircut?
A mohawk. I don't want no ponytail.
What about you, Joe?
I'm going the mullet because one of my favorite Walking Dead characters has got a mullet, so I'm going for a mullet. I'm going for that.
Yeah, I think I had a mullet when I was in high school. I did. I'm not sure. It was that long ago. It used to be in style, though.
Yeah,
that is true. Yeah, it did. In fact, I've always wanted a ponytail. I've tried to do it before. I tried to slick my hair back and get the ponytail on, and I never been able to do it. So if I could have a ponytail, that'd be ideal.
Okay.
The next one is: would you rather always have a bad gas or have really dry mouth?
Dry mouth.
What about you, Joe?
Yeah, the dry mouth. Yeah, I'll go for
Dry
that.
Mouth, Would you rather have to always hop around on one foot or always have to squat?
Hug around on one foot. I don't want to squat. I ain't trying to squat.
What about you, Joe?
Same. I don't want to be squatting all the time. Yeah, just hopping.
I feel like you'd have a good core squatting, so I'm going to go with the squatting, to be honest with you. Would you rather have pogo sticks for arms or pogo sticks for legs?
Oh, pogo sticks for legs so I can dunk. I'm too old to dunk now.
Do you know, I asked this question to Joe earlier and he said the same thing. That's like exact words. So I can dunk.
I ain't got the genetics to dunk, so it'd be good to finally be able to dunk.
The final one is, would you rather have to speak in rhyme for the rest of your life or have to speak in riddles for the rest of your life?
Say the first one again.
Would you rather have to speak in rhyme for the rest of your life or riddles?
I do riddles. I like riddles.
What about you, Joe?
I like rhyming too. So I'm not sure.
I like
riddles.
rhyming.
I think it'd be fun for riddles.
I feel like rhyming's hard to do, so I feel like I'd be seen as very skilled if I'm always rhyming. So I'll probably go with rhyming, to be honest with you. But yeah, that's. I hope you enjoyed. There are sort of little things we do towards the middle of the podcast. But yeah, we'll get back into the sort of the basketball stuff. Joe, if you had some more questions you want to fire off about basketball players and stuff.
So what I wanted to know as well, David, like what's the difference between, like a school like UCLA, which is obviously a high pedigree school for winning, and what's the difference between like a school what's had a bad record and is looking to get turned over?
Well, UCLA, you have turnover at UCLA as well, but you mean what's the difference between a good school and a bad school per se?
Yeah.
Administrative, having a great administration is very, very important. And, it's so important. People don't really realize that because the coach is going to get the blame. The coach is out in the front. But if there's a bad administration, they're not supporting you. They're not helping you with this. You're not helping you with that. We had some great, I worked for some great administrations. I work for some bad administrations. So, It's just the way it is. And those, you see turnovers all the time with those schools. And the ones with great administrations, you see it sometimes because coaches move on, and they have great success and they move on. But for the most part, you have more continuity. When you like, even saying with a especially with basketball coaches, if you see coaches that are always turning over their assistant coaches and stuff like that, more than likely they're not going to continue to do it over a longevity time. I know a couple schools right now. There's head coaches. They change assistant coaches like it's changing their clothes every day. They just want a guy to bring in one guy. So then that guy goes and the kid goes and he leaves and the guy leaves with him because he can't bring in another guy. There's no continuity. And in those schools, they don't ever last.
Yeah, very true. One question I have is, what's your favorite thing about basketball?
Oh man, the team aspect. I love playing it. I love being a part of a team. I think that's the biggest thing. I wouldn't want to play tennis because I'd get bored.
Why tennis?
I don't know. I played tennis a little bit in gym class, but I do like playing golf now, but I'm older. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I like the team. But in golf, you get to still be with the other. Like if you're in a foursome, you get to hang out with guys along the way as you play. But in tennis, you're by yourself. It's like I'd rather be. It's so much stuff that you learn being on a basketball team, on a basketball court, and the team goals, and just getting lifelong friendships through that.
What's funny?
Would you say?
Go on, Joe.
I was just going to say, would you say basketball's changed a lot now? Because it used to be obviously a lot about team play, but now it's mainly, but especially in the NBA, it'll pass it to, like, I think a good example is Luka, and just let Luka do all the work and then dish it out to a 3-point shooter. I think basketball's changed a lot from that.
Yeah, basketball a while back started to really promote the individual player, and to make money and revenue and stuff like that. Like when we were growing up, we liked I liked the Bullets, whether they were good or bad, because I grew up in Maryland area, so we liked the team. We stayed with the team. You ask a kid now what team you like, and if he likes LeBron, he likes the Cavaliers, he likes the Lakers, he likes the Heat. Yeah. You know what I mean? He could care less about the team. He's going to like the player, Yeah. And that's because of how the NBA is marketed and promote their program. Now, I'm not all bad about it because I have favorite players too, and my guys are in the league and I love them, but it takes away from the team aspect, and I think our world is like that today. Look at the selfies and all of this and all of that, and it's all about me, and it's all about my branding, and it's all about this, and it's all about that, and very rarely is it about, hey, let's win a championship.
Yeah.
Let's be a
team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you recruit, and when I recruited at the high level, hey, why don't you come to UCLA and win a championship, or Vanderbilt to win a championship? They're thinking about, what are you going to do for me to get me to the league? Yeah. So the priorities are not the same. I'm sure they want to win the NCAA championship, but if they don't, is the main thing is, how are you going to get me to the NBA so I can make my money? I'm not mad at that, but the team concept has kind of went away.
How does, as a coach, how do you change? Well, you can't really change players' thoughts. How do you sort of mold him back to that team aspect? If you're recruiting a player and you can see it in his head, he's mainly focused on getting to the NBA, not really being part of the team. He's part of the team, but he's more focused on the NBA. How do you sort of mold him back into you're part of the team that's winning a championship? How do you mold him as a coach and bring him back into that reality?
That's a great question. And what you do is you always try to find out what makes him tick. What makes him drive, you know what I mean? And then you kind of fit that part into the team. Hey man, you want to get to the league? All right, this is a great example. Like I used to say to all the guys that were champs, if you want to get to the league, the more you get seen in the NCAA tournament, the better chance you get to get drafted because you get seen on TV more. So if you can get us to the national championship, that's 6 games on national TV that everybody in America and the whole world get to watch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if you don't even make the NCAA tournament, we had no film on you in those circumstances and those environments. And you're not playing in the biggest arena. So that's a great example of what I just said. Oh, he wants to play in the league. Well, this is how we're going to get to the league. Why don't you win us a championship?
Love that.
That's how you do it.
Have you ever, for all your years of recruiting, have had a player come in and think he's better than the rest of the players, and he's kind of a bigger, he thinks he's better than the school?
I try not to recruit those kids. So if we do get one, we'll humble them pretty quick. You know, nothing's greater than, we're cheating him if we're going to let him think that. First of all, you won't win because the locker room won't be good. It's just the way it is. Humans are going to eventually all are going to be humbled some way or form or fashion. Just live long enough. You're going to be all humbled. I'm humbled every day, so if you think you're bigger than the team or whatever that, boom, you're going to get. It happened at Arizona State this year. I won't mention names, but that's why they were terrible. Because there's players coming in there thinking that they were better than everybody else, and they weren't. And they played like it, and that's why they didn't have great success.
Yeah, it's the last thing you want in your team. What's one of your most memorable games as a coach in any sort of game? It could be just like a Parks and Rec game or even a Division I game. What's one of your most memorable games as a coach that stands out?
Winning a state title. After all what we did to get there. People probably think, well, he's probably going to say when we beat Kentucky at Kentucky. Now that's right there too. You just don't walk into Kentucky in front of 22,000 people on national TV.
Oh, amazing.
So I get goosebumps thinking about that one as well. Not too many people can say that. Beating Arizona at Arizona, that was always fun, because of my history in Arizona. I tried to get on the staff at Arizona a long time ago, and they said no. So that motivated me to beat them at Arizona. It's always like walking out of that arena when they're all quiet, and they talk trash when you walk in it, but they were quiet when we walked out of it. Beating Arizona in the Pac-12 championship in the MGM in Las Vegas. And that was a great thing. That's when we walked through the lobby in the casino, it was all Arizona fans, and they were on us. They were on top of us. And then again, after we beat them, we walked back through the casino and couldn't find them. They were there, but they weren't talking.
Brilliant. Love it. What I was going to say, I watched you mic'd up on YouTube, mic'd up with David Grayson. You've seen it yourself. I noticed you like to take a bit of a jokey approach as well when coaching. You can see how much your players like. You can see a deep love they have for you, not just bigging you up, but you can see a deep love they have for you when you're talking to them. You can see how much they listen to you. Is that something you've always done? Have that sort of jokey approach as well, and that personal approach with players when you're coaching? Yeah,
I think it's real important to have them laugh. I think everybody should laugh during the day. We go through our days, those days in college are, you go to class, you're serious, you go to tutoring session, it's serious, for the most part. Those professors, they don't care. They're just giving out information and you're taking it. So when you get with us, I want it to be fun. We're going to get up in you too, because we want you to be the best, but I'm going to put your arm around you. I'm going to have fun with you and enjoy you. I think that's how you relate to young people. And I think that's how you motivate. That's how you get them to go and do what they need to do to be successful for not only the team, but for themselves. So, I like having fun, man. Life's too short not to.
Very true. Very true. Just one of the final questions from me before Joe starts getting into his Would You Rather's basketball versions. What's one of the nicest things you've heard from a player that you've coached, what I said to you, or the nicest piece of comment you've heard, just from anyone really? What's the nicest comment you've ever heard to yourself?
Oh, wow. Thank you. I appreciate all you did for me. You know, when I get text messages from them, you know, when I told the kids when we took over that program at South Mountain High School, and I told them, you know, we need to put new literature on the wall and a state championship banner, and we did. And then I'll get a text every now and then from one of the players, and they text me a picture because they were in the gym, and they saying, "Hey, we're champions for life." You know, those are great things. Or when Lonzo Ball says, "Coach, let's go to dinner." You know, I drove all the way to Phoenix to Los Angeles just to have dinner with him, you know, because I think it means that much, you know, to me, because they got me for life. And I tell them that all the time. But just, you know, Jared Bayless texted me yesterday and wanting to have lunch. Lawrence Hill just texted me this morning wanting to have lunch. Those are great things, man. And I always told them I don't want anything from them, but just, you know, if you can tell me thank you every now and then, make my ego better. So I guess that's what they're doing.
I've just got one more question, and it was who would you say your favorite player is you've recruited and why?
Oh my goodness, son. Y'all are trying to get me in trouble with my players. Probably the best in-home visit was with a kid named Joel Brown's parents out of Canada. And we just had a great time. We laughed, we did a whole bunch of things, and they cooked for me. And I was actually assistant coach, but I was up there by myself. So I presented like a head coach. And that was a lot of Anthony Simon, who plays for the Portland Trail Blazers. I didn't get him. He went straight to the NBA, played a year post-grad. And but we had a great time with his parents. Jules Bernard. We can go down the list. Lonzo Ball was in Jello, and Melo Ball was always entertainment because LeVar cooked for us that morning, and he held court, center court with his entertainment, and those were always great. Going and doing an in-home visit with an 8th grader named Jared Bayless. You know, it was great. Just the list goes on and on and on with my favorite player. It's Jeff Battle, Roberto Nelson, Joe Burton, who's Native American like myself, and you know, he still stays in touch, still playing. Devon Collier's still playing in Puerto Rico. Angel Alamo, who played for us at Sac State, still playing. Lauren Leaf runs the AAU program. John Ortega, who runs the AAU program here in Phoenix. We can keep on going. Christian Polk helped me get Eric Moreland to Oregon State. He runs a high school and AAU program here with James Harden. I mean, we can keep on going down. And when they hear this thing, if I left them out, they're going to probably get on me, man, because I love them all. They didn't have to make it to the NBA. I love them just as much. And I know I'm forgetting a whole bunch of people, but every one of my kids I stay in touch with, and I think that's important. I think so many coaches don't, and because they use them, you know what I mean? And I think they just use them for their own self-betterment. So I try to stay in touch with everyone. Kevon Looney, had a great in-home visit with him in Milwaukee. He was the first kid we got when I was at UCLA, and Kevon and his family are unbelievable. You know, Kevon won 2 world champions with the Golden State Warriors, you know, just won a Drew League championship too. So Kevon, congrats on that. That's it for y'all that don't know what Drew League, that's the famous league in Los Angeles. Man. And he won it with Rock Johnson and Isaac Hamilton was on that team as well. One of my favorite people on the planet. He played for us at UCLA as well. Just go on down the list, man.
It's heartwarming to see the love you have for your players, honestly.
That list is amazing. I can't believe it. Like, it's so good.
Well, thank you. Zach LaVine. I mean, we can go down. I love Zach. Zach was funny to be with. You know, it was a lot of fun with everybody.
He's one of my favorite players in the league at the moment, LaVine. So talking to you about him, that's amazing.
Yeah, happy-go-lucky young man, and he deserves all his accolades. He works hard, and he's a free-spirited, fun guy.
Brilliant, I love it.
It looks it, yeah.
Joe, you got your basketball questions?
Yeah,
You want to ask some rugby rathers? Let's jump into some tasty ones.
So,
actually, I've seen them.
Yeah. So, would you rather have this? Is a normal one. Would you rather have Steph Curry shooting or Magic Johnson's passing?
Well, the pass leads to the shot that leads to the bucket.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna skip all that, I got to go with Curry's threes, man.
Yeah.
But I know Magic. So when they were courting to get Lonzo to go to Lakers, I got to know Magic. So I don't know Steph. Wow. I haven't been able to meet him yet, but me and Magic I do know, and I'm a huge fan of Magic Johnson.
Oh wow, that's amazing. So would you rather have a party with Dennis Rodman or have a poker session with Michael Jordan?
Oh, Michael Jordan.
Easy.
Yeah, Rodman, man. Rodman's a little bit too wild for me.
I think I'd go for the Rodman just to see what the experience would be like, just that once, because I think I'd be too scared to play poker with Michael Jordan. And the final one, go on, Sarah.
Go ahead.
The final one was, what would you rather be involved in? The 3-1 Cavs comeback or the 2011 Dallas Mavericks impossible run to win the championship?
Say that again, because you broke up a little bit.
Would you have rather have been involved in the 3-1 Cavs comeback, or the 2011 Dallas Maverick impossible run to the finals?
I still had trouble hearing the first one, but I do know about the Dallas Maverick finals, so I'll go with that.
Yeah, that's a good one there.
Yeah,
I'd probably go with that one as well, to be fair. I can see Joe's eyes lighting up. You mentioned all his favorite players, and he's getting all giddy. I can see it.
Is that LaVine? That's amazing.
You guys have been great, man.
Oh, this has been so much fun, honestly.
It's been amazing.
Yeah, we should do this every day.
Honestly, I'm such a buzz. I'm like I hear you talk about. I've been saying to Joe when we first joined in the second call. I said to Joe, I hear you talk about integrity, excellence, and how you persevered and you took a 20 grand pay cut. I'm like, bloody hell. I wish this guy was my coach, because I would do anything for this man. I
appreciate that, man. I'm gonna have to fly over to UK and us three hang out together, man.
That is definitely gonna happen. But yeah, final question from me. 5 years down the line, where would you like to be, coaching wise or personally, or where do you want to see your life in 5 years' time?
I like to be a head coach, impacting other kids still. Being able to coach and give back and help my community and be able to help young people. I think that's what I was put on earth to do, and be able to help other people and be a mentor and be able to help young coaches and help them be successful and show them the pitfalls that I went through, and so they don't have to go through them, and just continue to help young people through basketball and through other things as well, for them to reach their goal. That's the greatest thing for me, is to see people successful. And another one of my players, his name's David Toledo. He runs a business, and never he never played college basketball, and he's just a great guy, and I like those kind of successes, and me to be a part of it and to help in my small way. That's where I want to be in 5 years.
Brilliant, love it. Joe, have you got anything?
Amazing,
any questions to ask? Lonzo Ball? Does that mean anything?
I'm probably just going to ask, what is LaVar like? How he is in front of the cameras? That'd probably be it.
Oh, he's different behind the camera. I mean, when the camera's off, he's different. He's still what I call has some Muhammad Ali in him. But he's a very caring person. If you're in his circle, he loves you to death. And it's not easy to get in his circle. And I love him, and I love his family, and all he wants is the best for his children and best for the people that's in his circle. And once you get in his circle, it's just beautiful. And he has a great wife and great parents and her parents, and and the kids are incredible. You know, Lonzo and Jello and Melo, they're all great kids. And he's different when the camera's not on. So, and I'm very blessed to be able to be a part of that as well and see that stuff. But the Muhammad Ali stuff comes on quick. You know,
It does.
he's never lost. You know what I mean? So he'll let you know that. So, but
I love that.
He's a lot of fun to be with. I sat with him during a game, which I've never done before, because you know when we were recruiting and I'm in there in college, we have rules. So I was at the NBA game in the summer league watching Jello play, and then Melo was sitting down a little bit with his teammates, but I got to watch a game with him, and that was high entertainment. And
Could imagine.
It was a lot of fun.
Really love it.
It's amazing,
I have a couple more actually I wanted to ask. I see Stephen A. a lot. I don't know if you watch a lot of Stephen A. Smith. I see a lot of Stephen A. stuff's punditry. I think sometimes he's a bit crazy, but he just gives some good insight as well to the sport. What's your thoughts on Stephen A.?
Yeah, I like Stephen A. I think he does a lot of great things. I think sometimes he makes mistakes, but you're in front of the public every day. You're human. You're gonna make mistakes, and I think he's good for TV. You know, I think he's an entertainer, but a very, very much informative person. I like that he don't like the Cowboys, because I don't either. So I get enjoyment when he goes off on them, but he's making things for TV, and you got to appreciate that. But I'm a fan of his.
Brilliant.
One of my favorite interviews ever is him and LaVar, when LaVar said he'd beat Michael Jordan, in one-on-one in his prime. That interview is just comedy gold. I love him and Stephen A. Just amazing. I love the interview.
Yeah, very true, very true. And LaVar knows he can't beat Michael, but he's gonna put it out there. You know, there's not too many people who can make $1 million just talking, over $1 million. So you gotta give him credit. I wish I had that skill.
And you look at it as well. I always say with something like that, everyone was speaking about him for the next weeks, and then so he'd basically done his purpose as well. So everyone was speaking about, would LaVar beat Jordan? It was actually becoming sort of a debate. I can remember it was like, wow, did this actually happen? Like, I can remember it was in the public eye for a while. So very clever man. Knows how to get him sent out there.
He's very smart.
Very good marketer.
Very, very true.
Is there any basketball films or series that you've enjoyed, or books that you've read over the years as a coach and stuff? One film that springs to mind for me is when I started taking interest into it. It's probably the classic one that everyone's seen. It's Coach Carter on Netflix. I thought that was a great film. Really enjoyed that one. The whole team spirit of it, and when he tells Mr. Cruz to give up, and then they all start doing the press ups and the suicides. And I thought, love that. It's again great teamwork. Any films and stuff that you watched and you thought you really
Coach
enjoyed?
Carter's right there. You know, I love any basketball, any coaching, anything dealing with coaching. I'm there. Hoosiers, you know, that's an old basketball movie. Anything dealing with basketball, I love. But Coach Carter's right up there with them. In basketball books, I got tons of those, man. There's a whole bunch of them in my over here next to
I can imagine. So. Love it. Just fine as well. What's on the wall then? Talk us through the wall, because
the wall
behind you.
This is one I'm very proud of right here. This one here is I was ranked the 7th best recruiter in the country and number 1 on the West Coast by ESPN coaching survey. So wow. I really think the world of that. This is Trevor Brown High School when I kind of first started coaching high school. I was assistant coach. This is my state championship, or our state championship, because I didn't do it by myself. We had great players at South Mountain High School. And this is my father-in-law. This is my grandfather. And he has a baseball field named after him back in Aberdeen, Maryland. So I keep those pictures up there. This is I don't know if you can see over here. Yeah.
See that one, yeah.
This is UCLA when we were at the Maui Classic in Hawaii. So, and I got a whole bunch more. Maybe I got some stuff in my things because I'm getting ready to do a camp, so it kind of looks a little messy. I got t-shirts and stuff, but Can you see that?
That's
Wow.
amazing. Wow.
Yeah, and that's
Wow.
my military. And when I was at Oregon State, I obviously, I was with Craig Robinson, Michelle Obama's brother, and we spent 5 years at the White House as well with Barack Obama. So there's a plaque on the wall that has "Yes, we can" from Barack Obama to David to me. So
Wow.
Oh,
I think,
wow.
I think the world of that. Sacramento State pick. That's when I retired from the Air Force, and then you got UCLA stuff here.
Oh, brilliant. Absolutely amazing. What a
And
collection.
then Cal Berkeley and us playing in front of UCLA, and then a picture of me and Jamie Foxx, who I really like. I think.
I love Jamie
Oh,
Foxx.
wow.
Yeah. Jamie Foxx used to call me and want me to have him come over to UCLA all the time to get up shots or work out or do other crazy stuff. But he's hilarious, man. A genius. He has a genius mind at what he does.
I love that. Honestly, that
That is
is
some life. That
is incredible.
That is
Some life.
impressive.
Yeah.
David, this has been an absolute pleasure. I've absolutely loved this. Like I said to you before, you're an inspirational man. One of my new favorite people now. There's not
I
to be saying that.
appreciate it, man.
Generally, I really cannot thank you enough for coming on. This has been absolutely
Well,
amazing.
It's been amazing.
Thank you so much, you guys. You guys are a joy to be with. I've done a lot of podcasts, and you guys are right up there with the best, man. You guys done an incredible job coming all the way from the UK. I love it.
I bet you didn't expect that from the UK.
Yeah,
is it your first UK podcast?
Yeah, my 30 days there that I did, I didn't want to leave. I loved it. It got me. The weather got me ready for Oregon though, because it's the same type of weather.
Yeah, I don't blame
Our
that
weather's
one.
bad, yeah. Our weather's bad.
Yeah, they got me ready for Oregon. So, but other than that, the people were great. I love the accent. I love everything about the UK.
Brilliant, honestly.
That's
Like I said
amazing,
again,
yeah.
it's been an absolute honor. An absolute honor hearing your story and having the giggles and hearing the players you still talk to and the tribulations, the ups, the downs. Like I say, that 20 grand pay cut, sleeping on the mats and starting from the bottom is still that's in my head now. And I'm gonna think about that all week. It's such a great story. So honestly, thank you for sharing your story and thank you for giving us such a good episode. It's been amazing.
It's been amazing, yeah. Been such a pleasure.
I appreciate it, and thank you guys so much.
Thank you very much. That's been David Grace on Black River Band Podcast.
Thank you guys.